Continuing on with the Clone Wars in the Battle of Umbara arc, I hopped on over to the final episode in the arc, Season 4, Episode 10, Carnage of Krell. As we know from the end of the last episode, Rex, Fives, and Jesse were standing in front of Krell. We open up on Rex requesting that Fives and Jesse not be court-martialed. Krell says that the clones have had a hard time obeying orders since day one. He's seen this. He says they're defecting, and he says Rex is right. Court-martialing is unnecessary. He's just going to execute them immediately. He tells Rex to prepare a squad for execution. Obviously, this hits Rex in the gut. I think this is going to be the final straw. This will be the moment that Rex completely turns against Krell and tries to lead others against his command. At least that's the way it seems. I can't imagine Rex going along with this. Once again, I could be wrong. Rex meets up with Fives and Jesse in the prison. He tells them the news, and Rex seems like he's going to go along with it. And that's the thing. In the firing squad scene, Rex is fully on board. He doesn't protest during the scene at all. He stands on the sidelines and just kind of waits for it to be over. He literally says nothing, doesn't put up a fight when Fives and Jesse are about to be blasted. The only saving grace is Fives speaking up for himself, giving a little speech telling the clones that this is wrong, that they're clones, they follow orders but not blindly, they're not mindless droids, they're men. The speech that Fives gave saved them. Rex was gonna let it happen. It was only until after the clones fired, intentionally missing Fives and Jess, that Rex spoke up, telling Dogma that the clones were doing the right thing, telling him that if this is how troops are treated for heroic actions, then they could all suffer the same fate one day. Honestly, Rex kind of disappointed me in this moment, disappointed me during the beginning of this episode, because he still can't shake the loyalty and notion of following all orders no matter how shit they are. But now Rex knows that there's a sizable amount of troops on his side. So now, hopefully he'll change his tune and lead a little rebellion. I really hope he does. But it's like he just can't shake that code, you know? A transmission from a scout comes in and tells Krell that the Umbarans are staging another assault, and he says that the Umbarans might be donning clone armor and clone weapons that they got off of dead clones. Krell decides to push forward instead of waiting around for the Umbarans to strike first, and the troops move out. They come under fire. They can't see the enemy, they can't see who's firing. But when the enemy comes into focus, they are wearing clone armor. Rex and his crew are firing at Umbarans in clone armor, at least that's what they think. As soon as I saw this happen, I immediately guessed that they wouldn't be Umbaran troops in disguise, but rather this would be a case of friendly fire, and that's exactly what happened. Rex takes off his helmet and begins to run into the middle of the battle to show that he's not an Umbaran, and both groups of clones immediately stop firing. This moment is pretty heavy, and seems to really take a toll on the men. They're trying to figure out what the hell went wrong. Rex goes to talk to the other clone group's troop commander, whose name is Waxer, and Waxer says that Krell gave the orders. Says Krell told them that the enemy would be wearing clone armor, kind of the same thing that he told Rex's group. It seems Krell has devised a plan to rid himself of the insubordination, of the batch of, as he calls them, defective clones. This really pisses Rex off, like we've never seen him pissed off before. Ordering friendly fire to try and root out the defiant troops under your command, something has to be done. This feels like a plot point that I've seen in a movie before, but I can't remember what movie it is. If you guys can think of it, let me know. But I know I've seen something very similar in a movie. Maybe it was a Vietnam movie where friendly fire was ordered. I just can't remember. So yeah, Krell is now cemented as the bad guy through and through. There's now no more hesitation in Rex's mind. He tells his men to opt out if they don't want to participate because this is treason, but the plan is to arrest Krell for treason against the Republic. Nobody opts out, everybody's in, and they begin walking towards Krell's position. The troops surround Krell. Rex tells Krell he's under arrest. Krell says it's treason then. Memes. Talks about mutiny. He begins to wreck the clones left and right and eventually leaps out of a window and tries to make an escape. As they're chasing after Krell, Dogma steps in front of them with a blaster, tells them that he can't let them do this. He eventually puts down the blaster and is taken into custody. The next scene becomes a cat and mouse game. Krell is the predator in the woods, sneaking, killing, speaking to the clones without revealing himself, telling them that they've been his pawn all along. Krell pops in and out, killing clones left and right. It's complete chaos. The clones are unable to stop him, but a clone by the name of Tup has a plan. He's able to lure Krell towards one of those Venus flytrap things from the first episode. It grabs Krell, wears him out, and Tup is able to stun Krell, and they take Krell into custody and put him into a cell. I absolutely love the scene of Krell being confronted by the clones. It was a moment of solidarity. The plot has been foiled. The clones are aware of what's going on now. Krell says he's no longer naive enough to be a Jedi. The Jedi will lose this war, a new order will rise, Krell will rule as a part of it. He serves no one's side, he says. He wants to be an agent of Dooku. He counted on the clones' blind loyalty for his plan to succeed, and blind loyalty for a lot of this arc is exactly what he got, especially from Rex. It was until the bitter end when Rex was in the field, when he realized that it was clone on clone and that he found out that Krell gave the order, that's when he turned. Rex was still on board with Krell as a leader and following through with Krell's orders even when he was ordered to execute Fives and Jesse. Although he was apprehensive, remorseful, and completely disagreed with it, he seemed to still be willing to push the order through. So while Krell is in the prison, it's agreed upon by the clones that as long as Krell is alive, he's a threat to everyone. Rex goes to execute Krell. Krell is toying with Rex, telling him he senses his fear, he's shaking, he can't do it. And then, just as I thought would happen as soon as this scene happened, a blast is fired, and that blast came from Dogma. Dogma had grabbed Rex's other holstered blaster and then put a laser right through Krell. Dogma took the betrayal really hard. He took it to heart. He felt absolutely betrayed. He defended Krell when no one would. He followed Krell's orders while everyone else was grumbling. Dogma killing Krell was a satisfying conclusion. I thought this episode was pretty solid and had a relatively satisfying ending. With a lot of the Clone Wars arcs, I find myself really enjoying the first episode, kind of enjoying the second, and by the end of the arc, it's just turned out okay. But Umbara was solid through and through. I was worried going in that it was just going to be balls to the wall action without much substance, but this is one of the most substantive arcs I've seen so far. A puppet master who wields great power both in abilities and rank. A puppet master who seems to have meticulously planned this sabotage. Krell, originally thought to just be a gung-ho, straight up the middle general who never cared about casualty counts and only cared about victory. Now it turns out his reckless command wasn't just intentional, it was nefariously intentional. He even sabotaged the transmitter, something I definitely didn't predict. Hell, I wasn't even thinking about Krell being this big-time sinister asshole. I thought he was just a shoddy leader, and honestly, I probably would have enjoyed the end of this arc even more if that were just the case. No grand plan, just a shitty general and the troops under his command having to try and figure out how to cope with this shitty general. I think to me, I would have enjoyed that a lot more. But with that being said, I did like how this arc ended quite a bit. The chase was a little bit much. I thought the Venus flytrap plant sequence was a little silly and eye-rolly, but everything else was just fantastic. I honestly think I have a new favorite arc. The episode ends with Rex saying, "This war is going to end. Then what? We're soldiers. What happens to us then?" Which is a great way to close out an arc full of deception, disagreement in the ranks, a look at the chain of command, the individuality of clone troopers, honor, duty, and the obligation one has to his brothers. HelloGreedo, out.